And we got to start what happened in Gainesville. The Georgia Bulldogs, I don't even know if the word loud begins to describe what Georgia did over the weekend, sweeping the Florida Gators, and it wasn't close. I mean, these were 3 dominating games, a dominating performance start to finish. Again, game 1 was close. I will
Game
take
1
that
was
back.
close, Chris.
Georgia is able to win that one in a
ninth.
Georgia, able to win that one in a slugfest, hit the big homer in the top of the ninth. Games 2 and 3, non-competitive. The Dogs' offense, they were described to me like a church league softball team, just absolutely raking. And the pitching stepped up in games 2 and 3. Brian Curley getting the start in game 2. He was fantastic. And Harrison, we have to start here because you and I both, especially you, but you and I both, we got to eat some crow here because you and I called for Florida to get the sweep. You and I both echoed. We thought they were the most overrated team in college baseball because what we had seen to that point from the pitching staff, which, listen, fairly, it's what we had seen to that point. The pitching staff, the starting rotation had not been very good. Georgia silencing the critics, silencing the doubters, and certainly silencing us after an incredible weekend down in Gainesville.
Yeah, Chris, and silencing the critics, especially me, is been one of the biggest critics of the Georgia Bulldogs so far this season. A few weeks ago, I said I believe Georgia was the most overrated team, top team in the country, and based on how consistently they've been playing the level they played at and the struggles they had on the starting pitching side, the Dogs had to fight back every single game against a lot of mediocre competition, as Georgia would view them as well. And the offense proved to be legit all season long. We didn't have doubts about the offense, but it was a bigger, more explosive offense, 1-9 than we anticipated coming in. But we weren't ever really down on them throughout the season so far. And I gave them that credit, and I gave the bullpen credit for winning every single game and holding the line every single game, carrying the pitching staff, specifically the starters, with how much they struggled. But I thought they'd run into a lot of trouble in the SEC versus, elite teams in the SEC that they have. I mean, it's the deepest conference in college baseball, and especially versus Florida. Kentucky, I picked Georgia to beat Kentucky. I thought it was going to be scrappy, but I thought Kentucky would not be able to keep up bat-wise at all with Georgia. But against Florida, I thought they'd slip up just with how elite we've seen Florida's pitching staff and the starting rotation that they've had, even though they've been battling some injuries on both sides of the ball, specifically pitching. But thought they would struggle versus some elite teams, and the offensive explosion we knew was going to be there, but it was even louder than we thought, Chris. And I mean, it was, like you said, I don't think dominant was the right word, or it gives enough credit to Georgia this weekend, what they did down in Gainesville on the road. I mean,
against a desperate Florida team that came in 0-3 in conference play, right? I mean, this is
after playing the number 1 Tennessee Volunteers at Tennessee. So with a grain of salt, obviously going into the week, but based on what they showed us pre-SEC play, all of the trends led that way, that they were going to get exposed, with the pitching staff, the bullpen having to carry as much weight as they did, and the starting pitching staff and no one really able to step up and give them length. I was clearly wrong about that as the Georgia Bulldogs swept a top-ranked Florida Gators, who are now not ranked, Chris. 0-6. They're 0-6 in SEC play, not ranked. They did it in Gainesville, Chris. Not dominant, but dismantling them in games 2 and 3. The offense, 0 drop-off from there, and the pitching staff. Georgia proved to me that they're a legitimate Omaha team when they get good starting pitching, and that they can hang and slug it with and better than anyone in the country. And they earned a lot of respect from me this past weekend. Enjoy, Georgia fans. It's weird that no one knew there were this many Georgia fans that were, baseball fans specifically, coming out the woods everywhere. But that's usually what happens when teams get really good. And Georgia, obviously, being the most expected team, I feel like, to do that in the SEC. But, I mean, a very, very talented team, 1-9 on the roster on the offense, obviously. The pitching staff really stepped up. Leighton Finley absolutely, shoved and gave them length. Wes Johnson was really impressed with him. Brian Curley, I said to one of y'all, you were Jake, that Brian Curley needed to start. Because I think he has the stuff to start. He can give you length and shows that he has put away stuff and puts guys away. We've seen it, right? And they had that, and they did that against a very talented Florida team, which outside of game 1, about a comeback win, unbelievable comeback win, but I was really impressed with just the starting pitching staff to be able to hold a 1-9. We said slug can slug with any one team in the Florida Gators at bay, 2.5 games. Really impressed with that. I mean, it's great to see that, Georgia fans are passionate about baseball now, because the more fans, the more eyes in the SEC in college baseball, the better. That's for sure. And Georgia definitely proved me wrong this weekend. And I'll stand by it. I'll wear it. But I mean, I was impressed with them this weekend, of course.
Yeah, to say Georgia was impressive, Harrison, is an understatement. I'm gonna go here because we're here to eat crow. I'm here to eat crow. It was funny. You caught all the hell, and you're probably gonna catch hell. Let's just call it for what it is, Harrison. You're probably gonna catch hell from Georgia people all season. It's totally fine.
And then when they lose one series, Chris, they're gonna say it's a fluke. It's one weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if we catch hell all the way to Omaha, hey, we'll see you there. We'll hang out with you. It'll be a good time. I told a couple of Georgia buddies I would do this, so I'm going to flash this on screen because, Harrison, them dogs is hell, and them dogs were hell this weekend in Gainesville. I mean, this is a real Omaha team. If they're able to get competent starting pitching, they swing it like Tennessee. I said that
Absolutely.
for weeks. The only thing that concerned me was the starting pitching. If they get competent starting pitching, the bullpen has obviously been their saving grace. Wes Johnson, something clicked to where, and maybe it is on Friday night, he goes out there, delivers a message to his guy on the bump, hey, get the job done. Like, figure it out. Let's go. That obviously lit a fire under him, and I thought it lit a fire into the entire staff over the entire weekend. So, yeah, I mean, this Georgia team, again, I tipped my cap. I was dead wrong about the dogs. I thought the pitching would get exposed and knew the hitting was there. But to that level, especially against, yes, a banged-up Florida staff, but still a Florida staff with tons of talent. I mean, what they did to a guy like an Aiden King, who had been fantastic to this point. Again, dismantling is the right word. Georgia, I think, the biggest winners of the weekend, arguably. I don't think it's arguably. I think they are the biggest winners of the weekend because of the way they did it, putting really the entire SEC and all of college baseball on high notice. Again, you get that level of pitching, this is an Omaha club. It's got Omaha written all over it. They will go back to Omaha first time since 2008, and Georgia's a real player to win the SEC.
Absolutely, Chris. And I want to say this. I never had doubts in Wes Johnson. I know how phenomenal of a pitching coach he is, and he's proven himself as a head coach, but I never had doubts in him. Obviously, he's a pitching guy. That's his bread and butter. He's a pitching coach at LSU, obviously. But it was just, how are they going to figure it out? And I was really curious the way he was kind of just doing it as long as they did throughout the season, with just openers and 1-1-1. I know Georgia fans are going to say, battling injuries, guys are coming back from injury and whatnot. But yeah, he's an elite pitching coach, elite recruiter, relentless recruiter in the portal, obviously. And it just felt like no one could step up at the time. And it was like, how does anyone take away your SEC, Georgia fan bias, people, right? How does anyone see that staff was going to be able to step up and do it against a lineup like Florida, right? But Chris, dismantling the offensive side, what I said, the biggest thing for me, like I said, it was 1 through 9, but it was everyone in Georgia's offense can hit a fastball and hit an off speed. But I think Florida kind of exposed themselves because, in a way, they didn't get away with anything. Like, every single cement mixer, backed up, get me over curveball was absolutely hammered. And a lot of Georgia guys, specifically, Ryland Zaborowski, to name one, obviously, and you can name the whole lineup. I mean, you can go Robbie Burnett, Christian Adams, Devin Overy, Brendan Hudson, first hit, home run. I mean, par for the course, right? Colby Branch. I mean, everyone in the lineup had, absolutely just loud at bats. It felt like every single at bat in every single game. And not everyone on Georgia can hit a fastball over the zone. I mean, even when they were on that outer half of the zone, they hit in a lot of even or plus counts when they were getting fastballs, in the zone, or they're getting, get me over curveball sliders that were in the zone that they were sitting on and saw them up. And guys said that they saw them up, they weren't going to get beat by them. And they absolutely just dismantled every pitch over the zone that they saw, it felt like.
Harrison, is this the best lineup in the SEC, Georgia?
I'm
ready. I'm ready to go there. I think it's the best lineup in the SEC. I think it's the best.
I'm going to say top 3. Georgia fans are going to hate that, obviously. I'm going to say top 3 just because, look at what Tennessee's doing still without Gavin Keelan.
I wish we got that matchup because I think Georgia could out-hit Tennessee. I really do. Like,
Georgia's definitely hang with them.
We'll see. Everybody goes cold at some point, maybe, but they've got so many guys.
But
that Chris, they're not all going to go cold at once. That's the thing.
Yeah, but you got to think. it's a really veteran lineup for Georgia too. But Tennessee's lineup, Arkansas's lineup, surprisingly, right? Georgia's lineup, and then you have, who else? Drawing a blank.
LSU's lineup,
LSU's
maybe.
lineup's pretty good. They face a really good pitching staff in Texas. Texas's lineup's pretty good. Top 5, I'd say. Top, 3 for sure, I think. It's just
what they've been able to do losing Charlie Condon. I think to take a step forward offensively after losing the Golden Spikes winner is wildly impressive. That's
and they're a deeper lineup right now than they were last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're better post Charlie Condon.
And Wes Johnson said it after game 1. It was going to take a grown man to get the ball out of here, and Ryland, was able to do that. He studies the game so hard and locks in on every pitch, and he focuses and slows the game down really easily. It feels like a lot of the lineup focuses and slows the game down, and is able to do so, and just, see the ball longer out of the hand, and just, have more time to react, and just they're such quick hands guys and explosive, and just barrel the ball consistent. Like I said, Brendan Hudson, first hit of the season, 2-run homer. On just a 2-seam down, and he just turns and burns on just such quick hands. Christian Adams, he goes a career best 4 for 6 in game 2, the home run, 3 RBIs. Devin Overy back-to-back right after him with Adams on a center cut fastball. Like I said, they didn't miss any pitches. Florida couldn't get away with anything, pitching wise. Colby Branch, 3 for 3 at the home run. He had an on base streak of 21 games, now 22 games, I believe, after game 3. It was just 1 through 9, and Brian Curley gave them length. I think the length that he gave them on the mound gave them some mojo too, because they weren't having to figure out how to battle and fight out of a hole again, right? It was just all right, bet, let's go out and continue to do what we do, but without being in a hole, right? And that was the biggest thing for me. They obviously hitting a lot of plus counts. What do you expect? But Wes Johnson, interesting thing, why Brendan Hudson and Christian Adams, they played and they started, right? He said our matchup card was screaming to play Brendan and Christian against their starter in game 2. We really liked it and thought we had a really good BP before. And, of course, Christian has, 4-hit day. And that's why you do those things, because that happens. And, Brennan has his first home run. Talk about just head coaching managerial decisions. Unbelievable from Wes Johnson there. Game 3, Leighton Finley. What does he do? Exactly what you need to do. Give him length, right? And Wes Johnson, I was impressed with his command of fastball, dialed back in, right? And changeup looked really good. His slider was strong too, was sharp and competitive in the zone. And then they just continued to mash more fastballs of those own hanging breaking balls, even in plus counts. And Chris, I don't know if you know, Christian Adams had played in Florida Stadium before. He said, I played it before, but I didn't do as well this weekend. He was locked in, and it was something about coming back home because a lot of his family is in town that weekend for the series. So, we've seen it before, guys that play really well in front of their families. And he did just that. And Florida, first time being swept in back-to-back series, Chris, since 2001. Yeah. And Georgia had 13 home runs in the series. Florida had a total of 13 runs in the series. Unbelievable.
13
and it's obviously
home runs.
Yeah, 13 runs. And you think about Ryland Dombrowski is the core of Georgia's offense, which is hard to say because 1 through 9 can mash. The last 10 games, Chris, he's batting .500, 20 for 40, 15 runs, 27 RBIs, 9 home runs, 3 doubles, 8 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Hottest hitter in the country last 10 games, Ryan Zaborowski.
On the flip side, Harrison, before we get off this one, again, we've spent the majority of the time giving flowers to Georgia as we said we would, and deservedly so. Again, hand up.
Biggest storyline, Chris, from the weekend.
Yeah, hand up. I was dead wrong. I called them overrated. You won't hear that chatter from me again. I can assure you. For Florida, 0-6 in SEC play. I haven't had many conversations with those guys down there, admittedly, just because what they got going on. They're trying to figure things out right now. I will have those conversations with them probably later today. But Florida needs to get healthy. Liam Peterson did not pitch, but man, you talk about just a nightmare start to conference play. The last time they got swept, you mentioned 0-1. I believe they won like their next 3 SEC series via sweep and got to 9-6. So not all hope is lost. It's just 2 weekends, but Harrison, Florida's got to get healthy, and they simply just got to play better baseball. Across the board.
Yeah, you look at Florida just like run production-wise. 1 for 8, 1 for 4, 2 for 6 of hitting game 1, game 2, game 3 with runners in scoring position. And it just, 2 out hitting, they didn't have the knocks either. And it was just weird to see because we haven't seen this Florida offense been that, I don't want to say shut down because game 1 they weren't. Game 2 and 3 just shut down, it felt like. And I think, I mean, obviously a dagger losing game one. You have a 2-run home run to Rylands and Zaborowski in the ninth. I mean, talk about clutch, but just it to see that kind of flip of a script from Florida, just how elite, high level they hit, and how a Georgia staff that we had a lot of questions, concerns, especially on the pitching side, coming in. I mean, if it was, I mean, Tennessee, yeah, that happens when you're facing the arms and the arsenals that Tennessee has, pumping out guys left and right. But I mean, I was really shocked to see it. I mean, like you said, Liam Peterson not pitching, just, I mean, that doesn't help you either. Not having, one of your best arms, not pitch the entire weekend. So,
yeah, a lot of questions to be answered for Florida. And it
yeah.
doesn't get any easier. Harrison Sully said that on Sunday. Just nobody's going to feel bad for us. We got to keep it moving. They've got Florida State in the midweek, and then they got to go to Ole Miss searching for their first SEC win. So it will get no easier for the Gators as they look to get off the 0-for-6 start, like Harrison said, first time since 2001. Georgia gets a sweep in Gainesville, Harrison, first time since 2006. That has happened. So history made.
Wow.
History made for the better for Georgia, for the worse for the Gators.